Hey guys, welcome back to the Pizza Story podcast. Today I have Grace and James from Gracey's Pizza, and they're from the UK. So, guys, thank you so much for joining.
Hey.
Hiya. Yeah, thanks for having us on.
Of course. So, let's get into your pizza story. How did you guys start in the pizza business?
Do you want me to start?
Yeah, you go.
Yeah. So I'd been a pizza chef, but we're talking a long time before we sort of conceptualized Gracie's. I'd been a pizza chef, and in a kind of pub sort of setting where we were kind of making pizzas in the pub kitchen. But then that was kind of sort of a job that I did just out of uni, and then I eventually got into teaching, and that's where we met. So we both worked in education, and we met in teaching. And yeah, I think so. Around about the kind of lockdown time, we were sort of messing around at home making pizzas in the back garden, and we bought one of those little Gosney ovens, and we were just experimenting and having fun. Really, there was no business plan, or there was no desire at all to set up a pizzeria. It was just more me kind of like relearning the skill that of making dough, and because I kind of remembered how much I used to enjoy making pizza, and it was like, oh, I'd like to give that a go again. And actually, when we first met, actually, we one of the things that when we first started dating, she had a load of friends over. Grace had a load of friends coming over for one of her friends' birthdays, and they
Mm-hmm.
were going to have a pizza party. And they were like, and I was like, oh, I'll just make pizza, like being like, I'll show off a bit, and which I did, and I probably made like 20 pizzas or something.
Yeah, it's like a sort of
And
secret talent that he had.
yeah, and I don't think
Nice.
anyone else realised in the party that I was like, with Grace or anything. They just thought that they hired this guy in to make pizza because I was so like, so yeah, chance to socialise or chat to anyone because I was just making pizza the whole
It
time.
was so good.
Yeah, and then
Yeah, that you hired like a professional caterer.
they're like, "Where did you find this guy to make pizza?" And I was like, "Oh no, it's Gracie's friend." So anyway, yeah, we started messing around at home, and this was probably going on maybe a year or something.
Yeah.
And we would we'd go to other places and try, and we were always on this like quest to sort of find good pizza.
Mm-hmm.
We used to live in London, and then we moved out to the kind of suburbs, which is where we're based now in St Albans. So when we kind of moved out of London, we were looking for a new pizza spot, for us, like a spot that we'd go to, like, every week or whatever. And
Mm-hmm.
there wasn't any. We were like, there's no pizza here, um,
Wow.
so yeah, we started. I think it was kind of a combination of us making it home a lot and not having anything in our area, and then we kind of just started like, oh, maybe we could set something up. But it was like, we were like, we were still teaching at the time, so yeah, it was kind of
Yeah, it's
we
definitely a side
it was
hustle.
a side hustle, yeah. And so yeah, the first time we ever sort of like actually sold pizzas was December 2020.
Yeah.
And so we literally just kind of bought a gazebo, like a 3 meter by 3 meter gazebo. We set it up on some private land, which is kind of adjacent to an office that my father runs his business from. They have a big car park there, and then we were like, well, it's private land. We just set this gazebo up there, and I think we had like, I don't know, 30 pizzas or something, and we just sort of, yeah, there was no advertising or marketing. It was just like, word of mouth spread quite quickly, and then we turned that into a regular thing where we're like, I think from that was a Friday night, and then we did it every Friday and Saturday night after that for a full year. So
Wow.
we never took like one weekend off. It was like every Friday and Saturday for a whole year just at that location. So it
Okay.
just kind of grew and grew. And then I think, we did it. I mean, some nights we were doing it in the rain and the wind, and then we did it in the summer. And then I think after that we were like, we need to get like, we need to lay down some roots and find, because every time you have to pack it down and then reset it up. And we just thought having a shop where everything is set up and static would be better. So
Yeah. And so we thought, how much different could it be having a bricks and mortar to a mobile setup? And of course, it's very different. There's a lot more challenges, and the expectations are really high. So we found this spot that was unoccupied, or I think the previous tenants wanted to move out because lockdown
Mm-hmm.
had been challenging for lots of businesses. And so we were just like looking through the window one day, and the landlord came out and said, "Oh, it's available. Are you interested?" And so, just really with no business plan at all, but just this bit of experience under our belt, we said yes. And so we took on this shop, which is like in the next village next to us. And here we are 3 years later. And it was very challenging to begin with. We weren't very busy, so we had to really build up our customer base.
Yeah, we didn't have any sort of money to fit it out properly, and a lot of the equipment was we were buying equipment on marketplace, and hiring vans and driving and picking up a fridge here or whatever. Even the pizza oven was second hand.
Mhm.
So yeah, we really did it on a budget and a shoestring. And so even when we look back at pictures of the first few months, like the whole place just looks so bare, and there's nothing. I mean, it is literally like a counter and then a kitchen, and that was it.
But also, it's not on a high street, so it is set back from the road. It's kind of tucked into a corner by this like dark, oppressive hedge. So you wouldn't notice it unless So we did we've got a lovely big hand painted sign, and we got people to kind of know that we're there. But it's not like we attracted footfall. It's we had to really work on getting people to know that we were there. And we did that with a few things, didn't we? We kind of built up our product and our USP, and so it's been a journey.
I think initially we saw the shop as like it's just a kind of permanent. We saw it as an extension of the gazebo. We weren't thinking like, oh, customers are going to come in here and they're going to be. There's an expectation that there's going to be some experience when they come in here, like because all we'd done before was like they come up to a tent, they took a pizza and they left. Which was an experience in lockdown. People were stuck indoors, like going down to this quirky pizza tent and picking up your pizzas from like two people. That was in itself was an experience. But this was like a bricks and mortar, and so people were kind of we were just sort of trying to get the basics in place of like can we like cook a pizza in this oven and like get it out on time, and so we weren't really kind of the space was so bare, when we first started, there was nothing in there. It's like...
Yeah, absolutely. I love your story because my grandparents started a pizzeria back in 1960. So I really like to interview husbands and wives. And my first podcast, I interviewed my parents who now run my grandparents' pizzeria, now I guess 65 years later.
Wow.
So it's just beautiful that you're a beautiful couple, you have a beautiful family, and now you've like started this whole pizza legacy, which is awesome.
Yeah, it is cool. It's kind of, you take a lot of pride when you tell people about it. It's not like, I suppose we were in teaching, and that's, a great job and it's very fulfilling, but this is something that we've literally built from nothing. So it does fill us with a lot of pride.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's so many commonalities. Like my dad was a teacher, and my sister and my brother-in-law are all teachers. And so my sister and my brother-in-law, their dream is to open like a cafe and a pizzeria. So I really, really love your story. I think it's so awesome. Let's talk about what kind of pizza you guys make.
Yeah, I think it's like from the days when we were in the gazebo to where we're at now, it's gone through many changes. I suppose it's morphed, and a lot of the time I think it's kind of that the style or the category that it will fall into will be more like environmentally or like what we're feeling and thinking at the time, or what we're kind of into. And we've always wanted to keep it that way. Like we've never wanted to be really strict on like it's going to be this style and there's no compromise on it. Like we've always been like sometimes we'll see something, or we'll go to a restaurant and maybe it's not even a pizza restaurant, but they'll have some sort of pizza on the menu, and we'll try it and be like, oh wow, that's really cool. Like maybe we could bring a bit of that into what we're doing, and that's. Would you agree? Like
definitely.
we've never tried to go, oh, let's look at what these guys are doing and replicate that and doing it like a kind of cookie cutter carbon copy approach of someone else's pizza. It's always just like what we're feeling at the time, or which oven we're using, or it's so I think one thing that the thing that when we got the shop, we've switched from gas to electric, and obviously that heat difference, one being a wet heat and one being a dry heat, obviously lended to the more like crispier, longer bake. I guess with gas ovens, it's like hard and fast, and an electric
Yeah.
oven, you've got the control, so you can bring it down low if you want to. And I think that was we enjoyed cooking on the electric ovens because you can get them, you can get really big, wide electric ovens now, and so for the capacity and for the because it's a takeaway, right? It's an evening business, so everything comes at like once, and so you need a big oven to kind of deal with that demand. And the electric ones just seem to be able to. It just seemed like the right fit. But yeah, and the style is kind of. I think we've always kind of been really passionate about the dough and always kind of preferred room temperature dough. So we've never. Which again is more like down to the environment because we've never ever owned a walk-in fridge. Like we still don't have a walk-in fridge.
Our place is tiny. It's really small. So
we don't have space for proving cabinets or walk-in fridges. So everything has to be done at ambient temperature. And I mean, the shop it's just like the worst kind of environment for an ambient dough because in the winter it has no central heating. So it gets really cold in the winter, and we have like electric heaters, and then in the summer it's like a greenhouse because it's got a glass roof. So it's just like you can't win there. It's just it's a challenging, but yeah, we seem to sort of I think and it's like every year the summer comes around and we're like, oh, what's going on with the dough? Why is this happening again? And like Gracey's like, you do this every year, like we just need to adjust.
Constant reflective practice.
Yeah.
So yeah, I suppose the style of pizza where we're at now is we use a strong bread flour, and we have a long fermentation process. So it's about 30 hours, would you say?
Longer than that.
A bit longer than that. And so yeah, we like to ferment the dough for a long time in bulk at room temperature, and then we ball it, and that has to be balled for a long time as well to allow the balls to relax.
But that changes depending. We used to ball up at the end of service, which is like everyone just finds that such a drag. So the end of the shift when you clean down, then you've got to ball up like 300 dough balls. It's like when you want to get out the door. But we used to kind of be really strict that we wanted it done at the end of service because we want the dough balls to kind of rest overnight and through the following day. So when it comes to sort of 4 p.m, they're really well fermented and they're easy to stretch. But I think we switched it to balling up in the morning. In the summer, we ball up in the morning because it's warmer and we don't need as much time basically. So
and then we have a deck oven and we cook at a slightly lower temperatures. So what are we cooking at the moment? 370?
About 350.
350.
We punched in 350, but I reckon the oven's probably running between 330 and 350.
Yeah, so you've got and then we bake for I guess about 5 minutes. So the kind of pizza that we like to make is well baked, crispy. We have an Italian influenced menu. We like to use ingredients that are kind of Italian inspired and go together, and our supplier is like a really high quality Italian wholesaler. And then but I suppose we also are influenced by the US as well. So we because we use a blend of cheeses, mozzarella, and like a fior di latte that's quite dry with a cube variety. Then we mix that with a shred as well. And that's we kind of like perfected that over the years to get that really nice kind of orangey tangy cheese.
Yeah, I think for us, like when over here, Neapolitan pizza is really prominent, and it's kind of we've only really seen a new wave of American inspired pizzerias happening in the past like 4 years. So there's really not many at all. There's us and a handful. And apart from everywhere else it's either kind of like big chains or it's like Neapolitan pizza, and it's very strict kind of militant following all the rules of like what like a pizza from Naples would be like, and that just didn't fit with, like, going back to what I said earlier, like that just doesn't fit with our approach to cooking and pizza, and our ethos is like we don't want to be kind of like working within these sort of really strict rules, because we tend to find the most exciting things have happened when we've like just made a mistake or stumbled across something, or like we've gone had some leftover or something, and we thought, oh, let's try that on a pizza, and that just fits with our it suits the way we want to do things, and so
Mhm.
yeah, and I think looking at American pizza, we were like, there's so many different styles and varieties, and like even when you go to like New York, like there's it's not like there's even between the slice shops and between the full pie shops, like they're so different, all of them, and they're all using different ovens, and they're like I get like some of the slice shops can be quite samey, and it does feel like the same product that you're eating, but they've got like their own like stamps on it in a way. And even in New Haven, when you go to New Haven, like every place is slightly different. Although there's kind of like there are like characteristics that you can go, oh, that looks like a New Haven pie. They're kind of different. Like if you go to Zapardi's, it's not the same as Pepe's, and like Sally's is not the same as like what's the other one, like Ernie's or whatever. Like they're all different, I think.
Yeah, yeah, that makes sense. What I love about you guys, I mean, you're so unique. Your location is very charming. It's just
Yeah.
very there's so much character, and you can just see the create that you both put in here, especially with location and pizza and just the details, and you just have like a very beautiful page. Now, what is your favorite pizza?
Okay, what's
I think
yours?
that when we're working in the pizza, and I make this for staff, and they're always like, I know that I think they've been doing it whilst I'm not there now. But what something I've been like making recently is I'll just because usually when you finish a shift, like I don't fancy eating cheese, but I'll fancy eating like a pizza. So I used to just make like a plain tomato pie, um,
Mhm.
and we used to put fresh mozzarella on it after it comes out the oven, and so it's
Mm.
kind of like because the fresh mozzarella is cold and it kind of cools it down, and so like you can eat it quickly, and it's just light. It's not
And parmesan.
and parmesan, yeah.
Yeah.
So we would have
Mm.
something like that late, like, and it's just really crispy and light, and but something I've been doing recently is like, so we kind of make like a tomato pie, and it comes out the oven, and then we add more cold tomato sauce on top of it, so
Mhm.
it kind of brings it, and then we put the cold mozzarella on it, and it's just like it just brings that temperature down really quickly, so you can eat it like straight away. Otherwise,
But also you keep some of the sort of acidity of
yeah,
the
yeah,
so
Mm.
we use really decent tomatoes. We don't cook down the sauce. We just get really good canned tomatoes, and so it's quite nice to have some of that brightness that you
yeah,
retain
yeah.
from the raw sauce. Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I guess it would be like mine's a plain tomato pizza with like got lots of garlic on it and some fresh mozzarella.
I mean, I would agree. I mean, I love a margarita.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just would always go for that in a restaurant because you really get to kind of see that how the elements hold their own. Yeah, that's.
Yeah.
But we also do a pizza on our menu. So we went to New Haven a couple of summers ago
Mhm.
and loved it. I mean, we were so inspired by, like you say, the really old, the history. The history of pizza is so cool.
Yeah.
So we have a pizza on our menu called the New Haven, which is like our take on it. And I really enjoy eating that. It's
Yeah,
like a margarita, but executed differently. Yeah. So yeah, that's
yeah.
probably
It's
mine.
kind of like we stretch it quite differently and we bake it differently, and we use a different blend of cheeses on it, and it's kind of like we get a lot of backlash from it. Like some people go, "Oh, it's not that's not a beats," or whatever, or like or then but then some people we get people come from New Haven and say, "Oh, this is exactly what it's like from home." So it's just like it's just it's our little kind of nod to it. It's not we're not like taking it mega seriously, or we're not trying to upset anyone or anything. We just like we really like New Haven pizza, and we wanted to have a little something like that on our menu, which is what we've done.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
it is really popular. It's like
Yeah.
I don't think not New Haven until now it's starting to become a thing. It wasn't really something that you heard of much in the UK. Maybe someone would like make one on Instagram at home but it wasn't something that any pizzeria was doing for sure. And so yeah, we when we got back from New Haven, we were like, because it kind of fit. Like I said, these pizzas we were making at the end of service, where we were just making them plain. We were baking them for a really long time, and then they'd come out, and I was taking pictures of them and just posting them. And I think people started sending me messages going, "Oh wow, that looks like a New Haven." And this is probably about a year before we went out there, and I was like, "What is this? What's like?" I'd heard it, but I wasn't sure like
Yeah.
what that meant. Like, they're saying, "Oh, it looks like pizza from New Haven," and so that kind of like sparked our curiosity, and then we were like, "Oh yeah, actually, it kind of looks like ours anyway," and we just sort of adapted it and to make it kind of look and feel and taste like that.
That's awesome. Now, is that your bestseller?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And after that, probably the smoky one, the pepperoni.
Mm.
That's king.
All right, that one looks great too. So now, if somebody wants to find you guys, where would they go?
So we are based in St Albans, which is kind of north of London. It's just like outside of the M25, which is that massive motorway that goes around London.
Okay.
And you can't really reach us easily by public transport, can you? You're best to hop in a car with someone.
It can be done. It can be done. You'll need technology to navigate your way there by public transport. But yeah, you could get a train to St Albans and then a bus to the shop. There is a bus stop just nearby. Other than that, we did open a second location fairly recently, which is kind of a pop up, and that's in central London. So that's in Battersea, which is just south of the river, but like central London, and it's within like a shopping mall called it's Battersea Power Station, which is like an old coal power station which was derelict for years. The whole time I lived in London, it was like derelict. They redeveloped it into a shopping mall, and then there's a big food hall within the middle of that with lots of different food vendors. And so yeah, we've taken over a counter there. We've got a pizza oven there, and it's cool. There's plenty of seating. It's like 700 capacity seating kind of food hall essentially.
Wow.
Yeah, it gets very, very busy on the weekends, but in the midweek is quite chill. You can usually get a table straight away.
Okay, that's awesome. So I know you guys you have a very nice Instagram page. It's at Gracey's Pizza. So guys, go and follow them. And if you're ever in the UK, definitely stop and eat. I'm putting a pin on my travel board. My husband and I go to Italy. Like we used to go every year before COVID, but we're trying to go again because my family is living there right now, or my parents are on and off. But I want to stop and see you guys and do a little pizza tour and then go to Italy. So I'm putting a pin in my travel board right now. And I'm just going to tell my husband that we need to make a stopover because your pizza looks so good.
Yeah, we have about 7 tables inside. It's nice. We've got space for people to eat in, and we do get a lot of requests. So we have this crazy system where if you want to eat in, you have to not exactly reserve. You have to order your pizzas ahead and put in a request to eat them in, and that way our staff can kind of manage, can kind of turn everyone over, and So yeah, it's an interesting one. But in the summer we have outside tables as well. But yeah, quite often we can spot the pizza pilgrims come in from a mile off because they come in and they're really like looking at everything, and yeah, it's really nice. We get lots of people from all over. I think we had people from the Philippines last year, the US, Scotland.
Yeah, someone from Korea came the other day.
Someone from Korea. Yeah.
Wow.
So it's really cool that people come in to see us.
That's awesome. Well, guys, thank you so much for being on the podcast. Everything about what you do is just lovely and amazing. And I'm so glad you guys were guests. So please, guys, go follow them, support them, eat their pizza. Thank you guys again.
No worries.
Thank you. Thanks for having us on.
Bye-bye.
Of course. All right.